G'day, Ziggy D here, and a little while ago I made a video that was just showing one particular fix for improving your frame rate on Diablo 3, and it seemed to have helped a lot of people out, with some people saying, you know, they got an extra 20 frame rate and made the game playable and stuff like that. And that sort of thing's awesome, but the videos are kind of out of date, and there's actually another fix in that same D3 Prefs file that I want to cover, and I also want to just go over a few other things, just basic things that some people might have missed that can help them out. So let's start at the beginning and go to the options menu and just make sure, I assume you've probably already tried all this if you're having any frame rate issues, but you should have your texture qualities on low, shadow qualities off, physics low, clutter density off, and low effects checked. Now another thing you can do, which a lot of people don't do, is you can actually limit the amount of frame rate that you have. I limit to 30 for recording, but you could easily limit this to 40 or 45, something that you find comfortable. Now, why would you actually want to limit your frame rate if you want to increase your frame rate? Well, the reason for this is a lot of stuttering frame rate issues are actually caused by frame rate spiking up and then coming back down. So if you're running at 30 frame rates for most of the time, and then suddenly the frame rate spikes up to 60 and then back down to 30, you're going to experience some stuttering and it makes the game a bit harder to play. This is especially prevalent when you're recording the game. That's why I limit to 30, because that's what most recordings record at. Now the max background FPS is not so important, because that's just the frame rate that the game plays at when you've got it minimized or you're clicking on something else off screen if you're playing in a windowed mode. So if you haven't already tried out limiting your frame rate, try limiting out your max foreground frame rate here. Now you should pretty much always have VSync turned off unless you actually do have screen tearing issues. If you have screen tearing issues, then you should be enabling VSync. Okay, with that, let's get into the D3 Prefs text edits. Now I'll display on the side of the screen how to find the D3 Prefs text on Mac and Windows, but don't be a noob and just search for it. Just search d3prefs.txt using your Mac search function or your Windows search function. It's really not that hard to find. I had a lot of people having issues finding the file, trying to follow my directions last time, so just search straight for the file. If you're not able to find it on certain versions of Windows, then make sure you're searching in hidden files or folders as well, because sometimes it can be in a hidden file. Okay, so as per the other video, the first thing we want to do is disable trilinear filtering. So 0 means that it's not disabled. If we change this to a 1, it means that trilinear filtering has been disabled. Now this has given a pretty good boost to most people's frame rates. It gave me about a 5 to 10 frame rate boost, but a lot of other people who were sort of borderline unplayable said that they got, at least 20 frame rate boost from that. In terms of fidelity, it doesn't seem to have any major impacts on the game. It only seems to really affect things that are rendered very closely to the screen. So sometimes when you're walking along and a bit of the terrain pops down the corner of your screen, you can see that. It changes the rendering of that. It might also affect the way some textures look when you're zoomed in. Really, it's a minor issue for such a good frame rate boost, and even if you're on a high-end system like this computer I'm currently on is pretty good. I prefer frame rates over fidelity, so you should probably be disabling that. Now, while disabling trilinear filtering works for most people, the next one doesn't work for everyone. So the next one is this here, hardware class. Now, hardware class is essentially a rating for your rig. Now, Blizzard's automatic rating system isn't perfect, and it might be miscategorizing your rig. Pretty much the most performance-rounded hardware class is 1. If you see something like a hardware class 0, you're probably on a pretty low-end rig, and the game's not really playing properly. You might be able to change this to hardware class 1 and have it play properly. For everyone else, changing it to hardware class 1 from 4, 3 or 2 will improve your performance slightly. The only thing this seems to change in games are the effects from some spells and auras, so things aren't going to look quite as fancy with it turned to 1, but you are going to get a frame rate boost. Now if you play the game for a while and get some performance increase, but then you notice that it's changed back to how it used to be, then the game might actually be editing the file. This only seems to happen on Windows, but the way you can avoid this is by changing the files to read-only. This seems to be a pretty niche problem, and it only happened to one person that I talked to, but it's something worth trying if you're noticing that it's switching back from good performance to poor performance after a while. If you have any other frame rate fixes that I haven't covered here, or if you know of any other improvements you can do to the game, any little tweaks or anything like that, then please share them in the comments below. If you have any questions, or if any of these things aren't working, then also ask in the comments below. That's it for today. I'm Ziggy D, and thanks for watching.